Probability day, you ready? Now, how many problems do you think I'm going to give you to practice of like, what's the probability of drawing a blue sock out of a drawer that has 5 blue socks and 6 red socks? None, right? Why? Why am I not giving you any of those? How well did you guys do on those on the benchmark? You did amazing. Okay, you did a great job on those. I feel confident that you're going to continue doing well in those. Okay, so in the probability section, the probabilistic and statistical reasoning section, mean, median, and mode and range, and then like the different kind of graphs is really what we need to focus on. Okay, so I have this worksheet for you, and it's actually going to, well, I almost said kill 2 birds with 1 stone, but I don't want to kill any birds. Okay, we can just do 2 things at one time. How about that? Okay, because the directions say find mean, median, mode, and range, right? That's what we're doing, but you have to be able to read some data. You have to be able to read a table. You have to be able to read another table. Oh, look at the back. You have to be able to read, what is this? A bar graph. You have to be able to read this. What is this? Line plot. What else do you know this as? A dot plot, maybe? It's more a line plot. This one down here is more a dot plot. See the difference? Okay. But this is one of those things like this is a bar graph. Everybody knows that's a bar graph. This has 3 or 4 names. You know what I'm saying? What's this called? Do you know? A frequency distribution. Okay, we'll talk about it in just a second. What's this called? Do you know? This is a stem and leaf plot. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to the beginning real quick. Make sure we understand the definition of all 4 of these. You told me the other day you knew how to do them, but it's been a while, so you wanted practice, right? Okay. So tell me then, what is a mean? So can I be picky? So mean, median, mode, and range are all types of average. So can you be a little bit more specific with me when I ask for what is mean? Maybe a better question is, how do you find the mean? Add. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, add up however many there are and add them all up and divide by however many there are, right? Now, I'm not disagreeing with you that's an average, right? I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just getting picky about your semantics because what's one of our focuses this year? The vocab, right? Okay, so a mean is like if you would have said a grade average, that's a little different, right? Because nobody does your grade average by finding the median, right? That would be terrible, wouldn't it? To get your grade average by finding the median of your grades, all right? So the mean is add them up, divide by however many there are, okay? What about the median? What is the median? The middle when what is true? It's the middle when what is true? When the data is in order. Yeah, right? The data has to be in order. Usually we list it from least to greatest, right? But it's the one in the middle. What if there's an even number of data? Oh, we find the mean of the 2, right? We add the middle 2 and divide by 2, right? What about the mode? So it's the one that happens the most often, right? What happens if there's 2 numbers that happen the most often? Can you have 2 modes? Yes. What happens if there's 5 numbers that happen the most often? That's not really most often anymore, is it? If there's 5 numbers doing the same thing. So really, if there's 1 number or 2 numbers that happen the most often, they can be modes or like, I want to say comodes, but then you would laugh because that's another name for a toilet. But you know what I'm saying, right? We can have 1 or 2 modes, but any more than that, we would just write no mode. Does that make sense? Okay. What about the range? Right, so biggest minus smallest, right? So can you be a little bit like, could you say that vocabulary wise a little better? The difference of the highest and lowest. Very good, very good. Sorry. Oh, I don't know where that came from. Okay, difference in the highest and lowest is the range, yes? Okay, so I don't think you'll have any trouble on this. I don't think you'll have any trouble on this. Okay, will you have any trouble on this? I'll tell you, you will have trouble on this if you think that it's three separate problems. It's not three separate problems. See how problem number 3 is just right here? It's one problem. I know it's lined up weird. I don't know why they did it that way. We can mock them and make fun of them later. Okay, but it's all one set of data, so look at it all together. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. What about this one right here? Do you think you might have trouble with that one? No, it's still just a list of numbers, right? You okay with that? All right, what about number 5? Do you know how to read number 5? What's the first data point right here? 12. What's the second data point? 10, and then 12, and then 8, right? So somewhere here, you're going to have to, like, you haven't had to do this so far, but somewhere here, you're going to have to, like, list these, aren't you? Because it's kind of hard to read from here. So we need to write 12, 10, 12, 8, and so on, right? And then somewhere else, maybe we list them right here, and then right here we have to put them in order because we need them to be in order to find the median, don't we? Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions about this one? All right, what about this one? Our line plot. Do you know how to read this one? What's the first data point here? It's 12. And then what's the second one? This one right here? 13. And what about this one? 14. So what you have to notice is what the scale is on the axis, right? From 4 to blank to 8. So what's this blank one? That's 6, right? 4, 6, 8. So that means halfway between is the next integer, isn't it? Okay. Do you think you might have any questions on that one? But we still need to list them so that we can now get them in order, right? Let me ask you this. This income, these numbers down here, does that mean anything in our data collection? It doesn't, does it? It's the y values that we're carrying about right now, 12. And we're not even going to talk about it in percent because it already says it's percent. So I don't need to say that's 12%. I just need to say it's 12. Does that make sense? Okay. Frequency distribution. This is what I don't know if you've ever seen before. Have you ever seen a frequency distribution before? All right, let me get a marker. So how many times does 2 occur? Once. How many times does 4 occur? Once. How many times does 5 occur? 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? How many times does 7 occur? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Uh-oh. What was I supposed to do? Only 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what happens? 8 happens how many times? Twice. And then 9 happens how many times? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Are mistakes expected in here? Are they forgiven in here? Yeah. Yes, they are. You just have to do it, right? You have to fix your mistake, just like I just did, right? So now, first of all, can you tell me, by looking at this frequency table, can you just tell me what the mean is? No, you have to calculate it, right? Can you tell me what the median is? No, you just have to calculate it. What about the mode? Oh, you can see that right away because these two numbers both happen 4 times. That's what's really nice about a frequency table, right? Can you see the range pretty easily? From 2 to 9, so the range is 7, right? Does that make sense? Have you ever seen one of these before? This is called a stem and leaf plot, okay? Or a stem and leaf table or a stem and leaf diagram, something like that, okay? Here's what it means. It gives you a key right down here, and it says 24/2 is the same as 24,200. So this right here, 23,600, means 23,600. And this right here means 23,700. And this one right here means 23,800. But what happens there? It happens twice, right? Since there's 23,800 listed twice. Oh, that's a 3. Do you understand? What happens after I write the 24,800? What comes next? Since there's no leaves for the stem doesn't exist. It's on the table though because it just goes in order 23, 24, 25, 26, but there's no number over here that's going to start with 25. Does that make sense? Okay, because I can't put a 0 in, because if I put in a 0, that adds data points that weren't there before. Is everybody okay with that? And then, oh, so what's really easy to see on this stem and leaf table? The mode's really easy to see, isn't it? I've got 3 2s right there. Well, so is 2 my mode? What's my mode? 24,200. Does that make sense? Okay. And then our dot plot here at the end, what can we see here easy? The range, right? We can see the range real easy, highest and lowest. What else can we see? The mode, it's the highest one, right? What about the median? Is the median pretty easy to see here? Because I can just count and find the middle, can't I? Okay. Do you have any questions about what to do on this worksheet? Then I'm going to ask you one more question. How easy is it going to be to find the mean on this problem when you're not allowed to use your calculator? It's not. So I got you the calculators that they use on the TSI, and you can use those today, as long as you're using them in class. You do not have a permission to use a calculator outside of class. Okay? You use this calculator and you use it in class. So my recommendation would be to do all of the means first. Because mode, median, and range, those are pretty easy to do, even with numbers like this, right? But mean, not necessarily. So I would recommend you do this in class first, because you do not have permission to use a calculator outside of class. You can only use this calculator. Why am I being so specific and strict about that? This is what you have on your TSI, and that's it. Are you guaranteed a calculator on your TSI? No, I'm letting us use it today because you know and I know that some of the questions are going to have calculators, right? Today we're just making a wild guess that maybe, hopefully, the mean ones have a calculator. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so if you don't finish all the means in class, what should you do? Bulldog period. Do you know when else you're allowed to come in here to ask for help? After school. Yeah, when else? Oh, before school. Bulldog period's not the only time you're allowed to come and ask for help. You know that, right? Okay, so if you have any questions, all you have to do is come and ask. But please understand you do not have permission to use a calculator outside of class. Does everybody understand that? It's only because I'm trying to do my best for you to get you ready for TSI. Okay? Peace.